Today we will review and learn about the coordinate plane. You'll need this information as we move further into Unit 6. Please feel free to have your classwork notebook out and take notes. Pause each slide, write down the important information, and then continue moving on at your own pace. Our learning goals today are to understand the different parts that make up the coordinate plane and to become confident when graphing points on the coordinate plane. We will begin with the basics of the coordinate plane. To the right of you, you will see a big plus looking line with multiple grid lines in between. You can see that each of the lines, the line that goes up and down, goes from 0 to positive 10, from 0 to negative 10, and then the same thing as you go across from 0 to 10 going right, and then 0 to negative 10 going left. This is called the coordinate plane. Let's go a little bit deeper into these two lines. The line that goes from left to right is called the x-axis. We will often ask you to make sure you label it with an X in the right-hand corner or in the left-hand corner. As you can see, the X has a little bit of a squiggly line to it. The line that goes up and down is called the y-axis. Again, we would ask you to label it with a Y on top or a Y on the bottom. Sometimes it's hard for students to remember which is which. One little trick is the word sky, S-K-Y. This Y goes up to the sky, and that is the direction up and down that the y-axis goes. Continuing to move a little bit further into the x and the y-axis and some things that you can find on these axes, I want to bring your attention particularly to the numbers. I'm going to highlight these numbers right here as we go across. On the x-axis, you can see that they begin in the center at 0 and then extend to the right as a positive number this way from 1 to 10. And then also extending back from 0 in the center and going in the left direction from -1 to -10. When we go up above and we look at that sky, remember up to the sky for the y-axis, and we look right here, you can see that the numbers behave exactly the same. Well, we're in the center and we go up, these numbers right here go from +1 up to +10. And then from -1 down to -10. I want to draw your attention right now to the center, this right here. I'm going to color it red. You can see that there's a 0 living there. We refer to this point, and it's extremely important, as the origin. This is the origin, the beginning. The word origin means beginning of all things, so this is the origin. And it is also the point 0, 0. You know this from our learning of proportional relationships. When a line starts at 0, 0 at the origin, it is a proportional line. Moving further into our coordinate graph, we're going to talk a little bit about ordered pairs. So how do we name points and what order do they go in? Well, they go in the order x, comma, y. It's important to remember that when we write a coordinate point, they have to be inside these parentheses that I just drew in purple. They have to have a comma in between them, and it must be the x first and then the y second. So if you look at our three examples, the first one that we're going to plot is this 3, 5. So what you want to do is you want to go into the graph. You want to go into the 0 point right here. We're going to start here, and we're going to go over to the right because it's a +3. So we're going to go over 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go up from that point 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is going to end up being our point. We're going to put a dot right there. That is our point, 3, 5. Now, without doing the highlighting this time, I'm going to find the point 6, -7. The same thing. You're going to go, starting at the origin, you're going to go over to the right 6 positive spaces, which is going to get us right here. Just a little tiny mark there so you can track where I'm going. But that is a -7. The -7 is going to go down. So we're going to keep going down until we get right there. That is the point, +6, comma, -7. One more to plot, and that is going to be the point -7, 9. So again, we always start at 0, we always start at the origin, and we want to go left this time to -7, right to here. Again, just a little mark so that you can keep track of where we're at. Then we're going to go +9, which is up. We're going to go all the way up here. We're going to draw ourselves a nice little point right in that crisscross of those grid lines, and then we're going to write parentheses -7, comma, 9. And that is how you plot coordinate points. To complete our learning about the coordinate plane, we're going to finally talk about the quadrants. There are 4 quadrants in a graph. When you look at the graph in front of you, you can see there are 4 boxes. The first quadrant is this quadrant right here, where I'm writing a Roman numeral 1. Not the number 1, but a Roman numeral 1. It's basically a big I. In this quadrant, everything is positive, so all the values are positive. We think about that as an X, comma, and a Y. This is the quadrant that you have used most often for graphing proportional reasoning problems, word problems, so far in our classroom. When we talk about moving forward into the next plane, into the next quadrant, we're going to head this way. We're going to head in the green arrowed direction. So the next quadrant is going to live to the left of quadrant 1. Again, we write that like a Roman numeral. So now it is 2 lines. It looks like a ladder on its side. This is quadrant 2. So what we have in quadrant 2 is negative X and positive Y. That looks like this, negative X, comma, Y. You can see that the values on the X line are negative, but the values in the Y line are positive. Moving down, now we're going to be in quadrant 3, so we're going to have 3 lines. We're just adding more rings or rungs to our ladder. This is quadrant 3. Hopefully you can notice that these are all negative numbers. Both X and Y are negative. Negative X and negative Y. Last but certainly not least is quadrant 4. This is the one that's a little bit hard to remember how to write. It is IV. In this quadrant, we have positive X and we have negative Y. So that would be X and a negative Y. That is the 4 quadrants of a coordinate graph. To round out your learning, we would like you to practice. So you are going to head over to Modules in Canvas and click on today's module. In there you will see a link, a Google link to the coordinate plane Google form. I would suggest having this video or the notes that you've taken available in case you have forgotten something. Complete the form and submit it. It is due today. If you do not finish this entire form, it will be homework. So please make sure you're getting through, you're practicing. You will need to have confidence in your ability to move around the coordinate plane, to move around a number line so that you can have fun with what we're going to be doing tomorrow.